Good day, viewers. This is your boy Political Hamzy. If you like this content, please click the like button, the subscription button, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Today's topic will be nice and simple, short and sweet. It's about the dividends of democracy in Nigeria. Have we actually reaped the dividends? Has Nigeria moved forward or have we moved backwards? I'm just going to lay a few points down and you decide. I know a lot of people are seeing the developments happening in Lagos concerning infrastructure, but you can't base the progress of a country on one region, on one state. We have to look at Nigeria in its whole totality. You have to look at the north, south, east, west, all regions. I remember back in the 80s, very few people had generators. I only knew of two people that had a generator, because then when the light was taken, within 30 minutes or an hour, power was restored. So we didn't have the need for generators. People that lived in Sul area around Ogulano Drive, Simisola area, they would open their taps and they would have drinking water. Not water provided by themselves, it was water from the government. Now, how many areas in Nigeria can boast of opening their taps and having drinking water? I think the only places that can boast of that are maybe private estates or government house, but every other water infrastructure is privately done. So you can see we're not providing the population with the right infrastructure, with the right social amenities, because there's no water, there's no light. Back then, general hospitals, it was not a bad place to take your children or for you to go to seek treatment, because they had the doctors and they had a certain level of the right equipment and competent people. But now you go to the hospitals, there's no medication, there's no equipment. Nobody that can actually afford medical treatment will go to a government hospital. They would either go to a private hospital or they fly their loved ones overseas. And the sad situation about it is that these people that are ruling us now, or the people that have been in power for quite a long time, are those that reaped from a Nigeria that worked, a system that was in order. Back then, they all went to University of Ibadan, Ife, Uniben, and ABU, just to mention a few universities. Most of them rather had their first degrees in Nigeria and proceeded overseas for their second degree or their masters, because education back then in Nigeria was world class, was world standard. But now look at education now. We're going to have a situation whereby in the next 6 years, the lawmakers we have will be lawmakers that would have either schooled in convent or Babcock or one of these private universities or schooled overseas. We're not going to have a generation that actually schooled in Nigeria again, and they're not concerned about this. The biggest investment when it comes to development of a country, it's the people. And how do you invest in the people? You provide them with basic infrastructure. You provide them with good roads, job creation, healthcare, and education. In all these sectors, we're lacking. It's such a bad situation that ASU will go on strike, asking for a certain amount of monies to be paid. And you hear our lawmakers turn around and say, look, we're not paying you that amount and it's not feasible. You see another budget come through talking about remuneration for these lawmakers, provision of 4x4 cars, and you say to yourself, look, you guys already have these cars, you already have a good remuneration package. Why don't you put some of this money towards ASU, towards the investment of the Nigerian people? you look at hospitals and you look at what's going on and you ask yourself, are these people really concerned about what's happening? Have they actually been to these general hospitals and seen the equipment they have, the infrastructure? Do they even have standby generators? Because it's now so dangerous. You go to a government hospital, even if they have generators, do they have diesel to run the generators? So that means if one is having an operation and the power goes, it's a wrap. We need to start investing in people. Back then, our roads, it wasn't this bad. The Tinkan Island Apapa Expressway, it wasn't that bad in the 80s. The road leading to Old Ojo Road leading to Satellite Town, it wasn't that bad. People might argue and say, look, because of the population increase and the amount of cars on the road, we cannot give that as an excuse. Population increase and increase of cars on the road is happening globally. That means you haven't been making provisions for expansion, for population growth. A progressive government, a forward-thinking government, any infrastructure they create, they look at in the next 50 years, with this infrastructure, be able to support the population. With this infrastructure, be able to afford new and emerging technology. That is how we should start thinking. As I said, this is Political Hamzy, short and sweet. You make up your mind, you make your decision based on what I've told you. Have we moved forward or have we moved backwards? Or is it a case of Lagos State moving forward and the rest of Nigeria moving backwards? Thank you. Have a nice week.